So, good evening. We will start with Indian society. ठीक है? And in Indian society, let us start with the see in Indian anthropology. We are going to talk about few things, okay, not necessarily in the same order in which syllabus is given, but we will try to cover as many concepts as we can. ठीक है? First and foremost, we will discuss about the demography. I will not discuss, so that is not needed. Basis of Indian society, a little bit of that structuring I will give. Then we will talk about the caste a little bit, caste and varna. Okay, we will talk about Indian anthropologists, Indian anthropology. And we are also going to talk about a little bit on the change aspect. चेंज से पहले विलेजेस भी हैं. विलेज स्टडीज़ के ऊपर एक वीडियो मेरा अवेलेबल हो जाएगा, शायद यूट्यूब पे मिल जाएगा. उसमें वो किसी और थीम से हो सकता है, आई डोंट रिमेंबर द नेम, बट विलेज स्टडीज़ पे शायद है एक वीडियो मैंने बनाया था. ओके, एंड देन चेंज एस्पेक्ट. Okay, in change we will talk about the civilizational processes. You understand the civilizational processes? Civilizational school. So, I believe all of you have some idea about the civilizational school. Chicago school, I believe you have idea of Chicago School of Anthropology. Robert Redfield. Okay. Robert Redfield. So basically what Robert Redfield have proposed, he is the main founder of civilizational school. In this there is study of, you can say, the traditions, है ना, continuity and traditions. In this we have study of various processes that are responsible for the continuity in various traditions, like parochialization, universalization, diffusion, right? We can also talk about tribe caste continuum in India. The concept he gave was folk urban continuum. ठीक है? So all those processes, they are basically part of civilizational school or Chicago school, in which we have McKim, Marriott, Milton Singer and all those people, right? Even N.K. Bose contributed to the civilizational school through his approach of when he talks about Hindu modes of tribal absorption. In that also he used civilizational approach. ठीक है? N.K. Bose की एक बुक है द हिंदू मोड्स ऑफ ट्राइबल एब्जॉर्प्शन, उसमें भी उसने सिविलाइजेशनल अप्रोच को यूज़ किया है. एफ जी बेली ने ट्राइब कास्ट कॉन्टिनम की जो अप्रोच थी, वहाँ पे भी सिविलाइजेशनल स्कूल है. किशनगढ़ी विलेज की जो स्टडी है बाय दिस मैरियट एंड सिंगर, उसमें भी वो है. ठीक है? सो लेट अस कम बैक व्हाट वी वर टॉकिंग. ओके, सो ऑल दीज एरियाज एंड चेंज इन द सोसाइटी कैन बी ड्यू टू एंडोजीनियस फैक्टर्स and exogenous factors. ठीक है? इन सब चीज़ों पे एक बार थोड़ा सा briefly we'll try to connect things. Okay, how we can link also various aspects. One day somebody asked one question, that functionalism and caste. So I will also link these type of questions, that how we can see functionalism and caste. Basically there are theories of social stratification which has been asked earlier also. ठीक है, so जो functionalism और caste वाला जो aspect है, functionalism and caste, ठीक है. Functionalism is a school of thought which believes that culture is an integrated whole. Okay, society is an integrated whole and there are various components of culture which perform different functions. ठीक है. Functionalism की एक variant है structural functionalism. Right, and which we attribute to Radcliffe Brown, isn't it? Radcliffe Brown is basically belongs to this school. Radcliffe Brown का एक you can say disciple था Evans Pritchard, and Evans Pritchard के अंदर एक बंदे ने स्टडी की थी, that was Srinivas. So basically Srinivas, M.N. Srinivas, who gave this concept, he was influenced by both of them. ठीक है. सो पहली चीज़ तो एक सिंपल चीज़ ये समझनी है आपको, एक इंडियननेस दिखाने के लिए. दूसरा, फंक्शनलिज्म एंड कास्ट को कैसे देख सकते हैं. सी, कास्ट इज ए यू कैन से सोशल स्ट्रेटिफिकेशन. Okay, and there are many theories that explains the presence of stratification. One type of theories are conflict theories, in which we have Marxian perspective, right? We have Weberian perspective. Okay, we have functionalist view. In functionalist view we have Talcott Parson, बहुत सारे हैं वैसे तो, Parsons view, ठीक है, and we have Davis and Moore's view, Kingsley Davis and Moore's view. These functionalists try to explain that social stratification that involves caste also. ठीक है, ये भी एक एंगल है जो आपने पेपर 1 में किया था. ओके, हियर यू नो दैट श्रीनिवास एनालाइज्ड इंडियन सोसाइटी थ्रू द स्ट्रक्चरल फंक्शनल लेंस व्हेन ही वाज गिविंग द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ईदर डोमिनेंट कास्ट, आइदर इट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ संस्कृताइजेशन. ठीक है, सो ये आप डायमेंशन यूज कर सकते हो, राइट. आई बिलीव दैट विल बी सफिशिएंट फॉर गिविंग यू द प्रॉपर डायमेंशन, राइट, एंड पुट दिस क्वेश्चन इन पर्सपेक्टिव. Okay. Done. So this question, I think here I want to take this only. So पीछे हमने क्या क्या बात किया है. हाँ, एक एक करके शुरू करते हैं. बेसिस ऑफ इंडियन सोसाइटी. क्वेश्चन आएगा तो व्हाट कैन बी योर अप्रोच टू एड्रेस एनी पार्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन. क्वेश्चंस on traditional basis will always be there. हर साल एक क्वेश्चन आ ही रहा है. ठीक है. Okay, now whether it is varnashram system, whether it is purusharthas, okay, right. So I believe this is Varna ashram. There are 4 Varna ashramas, right. Varna system में आश्रम system embedded है, right. There are, you can say, 4 Varnas. ये normally नहीं लिखते हैं लोग, right. And ashram system it also differentially it is applicable on 4 varnas, right? Because if you talk about brahmacharya ashram, okay, upanyaya ceremony, it is not available to the lowest section Shudras, okay, it is available for the 3 sections. So that also one line you can just add, because just try to understand the literal meaning. Varnashram system is applicable to the 3 varnas, and one can be useful for your criticism point of view also, right? जब आप लास्ट में क्रिटिक लिखेंगे वहाँ पे भी एक यूज़ कर सकते हैं, ठीक है. सो वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम में ये हो जाएगा. नाउ इन वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम व्हाट इज द, you can say, relevance of this system today? That is very important. In this question you have to define it, right? You have to talk about these 4 life stages. You have to link these stages with purusharthas. ठीक है. Even your Rina system. Okay. Make the diagram. जो एक डायग्राम मैंने आपको पहले भी दिखाया था, ठीक है. ब्रह्मचार्य, गृहस्थ, then vanaprastha and sannyas, and finally moksha. Okay, if you fulfill all your duties according to dharma, then you will gain, right? Rinas, 4 types of rinas. Then you will say relevance today. This is your main heading. What is the relevance today? Okay, so you can say after retirement, people after retirement जो है वो एक तरह से संन्यास ले लेते हैं, ठीक है. बट इफ यू से रेलेवेंस टुडे, एक वनप्रस्था वाला तो दिख रहा है वहाँ पे, है ना. बट डू यू सी दैट रेलेवेंस ऑफ वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम इन ब्रह्मचार्य? और गृहस्थ आश्रम, ओके. और यू कैन से वनप्रस्था में, चलो आपको एक बात मान लेते हैं, ब्रह्मचार्य आश्रम, it is the stage of knowledge acquisition, okay, and present day rational knowledge have led to many changes in brahmacharya ashram, right? Whether it is in the changes in the guru shishya parampara, or it is in the changes in the you can say this aspect of what do you call abstinence वाला जो aspect था, ठीक है. So in that changes are there. You can give the study like you can say that abstinence is not that, ठीक है. Grihastha ashram, it is meant to repay all the debts, ठीक है. But you can say the elderly parents, they are abandoned, तो ये वाली सब चीज़ें भी है, ओके. सो ये वाली सब चीज़ें डाल सकते हो आप किसका. हाँ,
टाइम के रिस्पेक्ट में भी लिख सकते हैं. जैसे कंसीडर करते हैं 25 इयर्स तक का, अभी मोर देन 30 इयर्स तक का भी
नहीं वो नहीं डालोगे. इतना 30 इयर्स का मतलब
ब्रह्मचर्य एक्सटेंडेड पीरियड तक चल रहा है.
नो दैट इतना सूट नहीं कर रहा. वो ब्रह्मचारी है नहीं ना. इट इज़ नॉट ब्रह्मचारी, है ना. यू अंडरस्टैंड. ब्रह्मचारी आश्रम, आप कह रहे हो यूपीएससी की तैयारी करने आ गए तो 35 ईयर्स तक लोग तैयारी करते रहते हैं. दैट इज़ अ डिफरेंट थिंग. अच्छा, सिर्फ नॉलेज एक्विजिशन. सो इट इज़ लाइफ लॉन्ग. पीपल एक्वायर नॉलेज लाइफ लॉन्ग ऑल्सो.
सिंगल रहते हुए पीएचडी जैसे कोई कंटिन्यू कर रहा है 30 इयर्स तक.
नहीं, it is not going, it is not the general order of things ना. It is exception ना. Exceptions we will not include. एक चीज़ I think I have missed is that relevance से पहले is the same or it has been changing. So what are the factors of change? क्या factors of change आ रहे हैं इसमें? अगर one plus the system is not relevant as it was relevant in the past, so what are those factors that bring about those changes? So you can say the factors that bring about changes is rationality, scientific temper, right? Scientific temper, even democratic setup, industrialization and urbanization. All these factors brought about some changes in this setup. ठीक है, वर्णाश्रम सिस्टम में सब, हाँ इंस्टीट्यूशंस, हाँ उसमें भी उसके कारण में ओल्ड एज होम्स, ठीक है, इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन और अर्बनाइजेशन, क्रैचेज आ गए हैं, राइट, गुरुकुलम का जगह स्कूल्स ने ले लिया है, फॉर्मल स्कूलिंग हो गया है, ठीक है, हाँ डेमोक्रेसी को डाल दो ना, डेमोक्रेसी, डेमोक्रेटिक सेटअप। वर्णाश्रमा के बाद आपका पुरुषार्थ में भी ऑल द फोर, मोस्ट ऑफ यू जस्ट रेस्ट्रिक्ट ऑन पुरुषार्थास, दैट 2-3 स्कॉलर्स के कपाड़िया, देन काने, इन सब के व्यूज़ लिखने में आप बिजी हो जाते हो। अगेन यू डोंट डू जस्टिस ऑन द लास्ट पार्ट, रेलेवेंस पार्ट। सो माई रिक्वेस्ट इज दैट go for that part. Right, in Purusharthas also you will say define them. So these are goals that every Hindu have to achieve in the lifetime, right? These are the aims or the goals. Then you have to just name them. You can say just and list all of them, okay, and individually define dharma, artha, kama, moksha, okay. So relevance in past, so in past when there was the state system, law and law of this nature was not existing, so it was relevant in past. But relevance today, again you can say it is not relevant in today's times in the same way as it was relevant in the past. What was the region? What are the regions? So again similar regions, right? Rationality and all. People believe that we will attain moksha in earlier times, right? Now people know that there is nothing after death. So people want to enjoy the life in this birth only. They don't believe in life after death. Scientific temper, rationality, right? So that is one important factor. Okay? In early times, basically this belief that if you do not follow dharma, then there will be wrath of the supernatural. Now people know that supernatural ki wrath with the scientific temper, right?
Sir, question like Indian anthropology is more about study of Hindu rather than in the holistic. It will be questioning the holistic.
आज की डेट में क्वेश्चन नहीं आ सकता, right? This question will not, cannot come, right? So don't worry about it, and we'll talk about that separately. Not now here, right? Because dharma, artha, kam, moksha, I think we can do that, right? That one diagram you will make it easily. Right, you can say this, the central element, this central is dharma, right? This is also dharma, okay. In brahmacharya, the main duty is knowledge acquisition, in grihastha wealth acquisition. Why acquisition of wealth? Two things. Why acquisition of wealth? One is to take care of the family. That includes married couple, parents and children, and the repaying of debts. Whether it is towards the guru, either it is towards the gods and goddesses, parents, pitra rin, right, or atithi rin, all the rinas, right. Here detachment starts and spreading the knowledge. Here complete detachment, and if one does so, then there is moksha. Okay, that is the easy part. Now, second theme is for us is caste. ठीक है. Second theme is caste. Caste and Varna. So, in words of Aman Srinivas, this is, you can say, field view, and this is book view. Can I say so? Varna is book view. Can I say this is real culture in words of Ralph Linton? And this is construct, cultural construct. Ralph Linton, this question has been asked, culture and culture construct, right? So cultural construct जो चीज़ है, मैं उसको अभी आपको समझा देता हूँ. Culture and culture construct, ये क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है पहले, पेपर 1 में आया है, but we can link things from one. Cultural construct. Okay, construct simply बोलता है कि what is being written about culture or its elements, right? So what is being written about, say, Indian culture? So what is being written in the scriptures or whatever is there in the oral history, that is one part. If any culture is not literate, then it will be in the form of oral history, folk tales, है ना. तो ये डॉक्यूमेंट कर देगा कोई एंथ्रोपोलॉजिस्ट. Second, you can say ethnographies. Ethnographies are also written. Ethnographies, in a sense, try to portray what actually the culture is. Okay, but I believe all of you know this Mead and Freeman controversy, and you also know Redfield and Lewis controversy. Here ethnographies are also the work of fiction. It is visible like this is also the work of fiction. ठीक है. है ना. Isn't it? Okay. There will be one more lecture on tribals. Somebody is asking that how many lectures more. So there will be one more lecture on this. Okay, so can you think about caste? Now what is your view on caste, class and power? Caste, class and power. How these three things are linked? See, in Weber's analysis, caste is, you can say, status, this is wealth, okay, and this is, you can say, party. In Weber's analysis, these are the three terms: status, wealth, or you can say wealth differences produce classes, status differences produce caste, and political power के differences. So all are these three embedded into one another, or they are different? Caste, class and power. Okay, so basically all three are embedded. Now for that we require some case studies. Okay, for that we require some case studies to prove that. So Barth, Frederick Barth, okay, he studied non-Hindu community and he believes in status summation. Okay. Bernard Cohen studied Madhopur village in UP. Madhopur village in UP. And in that study, he found that Thakurs are 24% of the village population who dominated socially, economically and politically. Socially, economically and politically. Andre Bete studied Sripuram village and he says that Brahmins in this village dominated socially, economically as well as politically. Okay. Now this is, you can say, the traditional case study that proves that all the three are embedded. That is one case, not the entire picture. That talks about the summation of the three elements. Okay, कि caste, upper caste, they are wealthy as well and they are powerful as well. But now the reality is different because of emergence of democracy, industrialization, urbanization. So this summation have, you can say, start differentiating. Okay, for that also we will have, so you can say these are not same as it was in the past, right? So what are the factors of change? So let us talk about factors of change. So you can say that this was the traditional case, isn't it? Where there was summation of all these three. Then there are some factors of change. See, because of democracy, lower castes get reservation. Okay. some of them become even dominant castes, okay. Some you can say Shudra caste become dominant castes, so they are politically more powerful, they are economically more powerful. So it is not like that higher caste is having all the three things, so that summation of all the three elements it diffracted, ठीक है, अलग अलग हो गया अब. Then democracy is one factor, industrialization and urbanization is one factor, है ना. And because of you can say modernization, industrialization, urbanization, rational outlook, westernization, जितने भी factors आप देखते हो, modern education, transportation, media, okay, what happened? You can say separation of these three, separation of caste, class and power took place, ठीक है. So now for that also you have to produce some case studies. For that you can give case study like William Rowe's study on Senapur village, William Rowe's study on Senapur village. What William Rowe says, that Nunia become Kshatriyas, Nuniyas become Chauhans, Nunia caste. William Rowe Nuniyas, they took the title of Chauhans, right. How they took the title of Chauhans? Basically in the British times they got benefited and they Sanskritized, ठीक है. So basically जो lower caste थी वो dominate कर रही हैं अभी वहाँ पे, wealth उनके पास आ गई. तो संस्कृताइजेशन कैन बी वन प्रोसेस है, यहाँ पे फैक्टर्स ऑफ चेंज संस्कृताइजेशन भी आ सकता है, ओके. मैकिम मैरियट इन किशनगढ़ी विलेज, observe the intense competition among various castes for capturing political power. Observed intense competition among various castes to capture political power. Anil Bhatt says that high status castes are not necessarily the higher castes. Okay. Done. समझ गए ये वाला चीज़? Is it clear? Because this is kind of tough question. लोग normally नहीं समझ पाते हैं. So I am just telling you there are three dimensions of this question. First portion is what is the traditional case. Second, the factors of change, and third, what is the change. ठीक है? So caste, class, and power. These three are not, you can say, combined thing now. Now situation have changed, and it is because of modern education. It is because of अब एजुकेशन में रिजर्वेशन आ गया. सो से मीना कास्ट, मीना ट्राइब, इट बिकम्स हायर, राइट. सो वो एक आप एग्जांपल दे दोगे, इजंट इट? देन okay, now next topic we can take. कुछ topics मैंने identify किए थे. Caste mobility you can do it easily. हाँ, I believe you all know that the concept of Rajputization was given by Surjit Sinha, है ना, Sanskritization, Westernization, dominant caste, these concepts are given by Srinivas. Jajmani system also you can do easily. Okay, what you have to write, say in Jajmani system or any such question, अगर मान लिया Sanskritization भी आता है या Jajmani system आता है, तो what would be the structure of this question? Say, you can take any question, say Sanskritization. Huh? You have to define it, है ना? You can talk about its characteristics. You can talk about its causes, है ना? Essential conditions. You can add case study. ठीक है, you can give case study of Nunia, you can give case study of Bisipara. ठीक है,
relationship between Sanskritization and
हाँ, so वो भी यहाँ पे cause भी डालोगे कि वो भी हो सकता है. Westernization can be a cause because he himself agreed, है ना, wealth acquisition through westernization, that can, you can say both are not isolated. ठीक है, both work in relation to one another. दोनों अलग अलग नहीं देखना है, दोनों एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट भी करते हैं. ठीक है, both are different. Sanskritization is a kind of, you can say sacred way में जा रहा है, वो एक secular side में जा रहा है. Westernization is secular, है ना. But both, you can say, push each other, with both act in tandem rather than in an isolated manner. Case study के बाद में you can talk about its significance, and you can talk about its concept की criticism. ठीक है, okay, then there can be a question like Panchayati Raj and intercaste relations. लास्ट ईयर एक इसी लाइन पे क्वेश्चन आया था, ये टॉपिक है हमारे इसमें ना, पंचायती राज एंड इंटरकास्ट रिलेशंस. लास्ट टाइम देयर वाज ए क्वेश्चन ऑन फैक्शनलिज्म. Okay, so Panchayati Raj, it gave us, you can say, elected representatives, इलेक्टेड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स दे दिया हमने, है ना. और पहले हमारे पास क्या होते थे, ट्रेडिशनल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स होते थे. लाइक before elected representatives there are khaps, or you can say traditional political leaders. Traditional political leadership was there. ठीक है, अब elected representatives, they replaced these. Okay, and because of that what happened? See, if you can say that lower castes are given reservation, if women is given reservation, right? So there are changes a little bit in the caste relation. What are those changes? What are those changes? So basically it results into conflict, number one. between the traditional and modern structures. Second, it results into factionalism also. Factions बन गए अलग अलग castes के, right? Within the caste also there are factions now, because people want to gain power. Here you can apply the concept of SC Dubey, right? That there is no dominant caste, like rather there are dominant factions. ठीक है, dominant people and maybe at best dominant factions, ठीक है, who try to capture power. So factionalism आ गया, right? When there is tussle to capture power, so there is factionalism. Then you can say this is one thing. Then naturally positive factors can be like it gave voice to the Dalits, lower caste. It gave voice to the Dalits or lower caste. ठीक है. It results into, you can say, emergence of new dominant castes. Emergence of new dominant castes. You can give examples. What are the new dominant castes, right, in different areas? You can give example for them. Reddys you can give, Patels you can give, right, Jats and Yadavs, right, these you can give. Okay. Now basically after dealing with this, that how it affected the intercaste relations, right. So is it not disturbing the you can say social structure of the villages, right? Village structure includes Jajmani system, so at least you can say dilution of Jajmani system also took place. So that also you can talk about here. है ना? So these can be given like this. ठीक है? Then you can say diminishing voice of the traditional structures like खाप्स and इनका कुछ कम हुआ है, right? Traditional पंचायत का influence कम हुआ है, that also you can write, right? Diminishing influence of the traditional panchayats. Okay. Now, one concept is tribe caste continuum. Now, before that, if we move to this tribe caste continuum or anything, let us talk about the changes. खाप पंचायत और फैक्शनलिज्म आया था लास्ट ईयर. क्या था खाप पंचायत और खाप पंचायत आया था. सो खाप पंचायत आर ट्रेडिशनल स्ट्रक्चर्स. ठीक है. हाँ, लास्ट ईयर फैक्शनलिज्म पे आया था. ओके, बिफोर चेंजेस और चीज़ कर लेते हैं पहले. जस्ट वेट. विलेज स्टडीज़. हाँ, तो वो भी डायमेंशन पे हो जाएगा. village studies. So, what is village? Is village a social system? Is it a social system? Have you heard the concept of little republics? Charles Metcalfe. That village is self-sufficient system. Okay? Is it a self-sufficient social system? Or it has links like the concept of Lewis, rural cosmopolitanism. What is it? Is it a little republic or it is cosmopolitan? Is it a social system? If yes, what are the characteristics of it? How we can say, what are the points that say that it is a social system? What is system? Before that you should have an idea about system. System is made up of component parts which are arranged, right, according to some, you can say, कोई hierarchy की जरूरत नहीं है, relationship है सभी component parts में, which are arranged in particular relation, and there are some institutions that define and regulate those relationships. ठीक है? So we can say first and foremost, let us deal with this part, that it is a social system. ठीक है? Then we will say that it is not isolated social system, rather it has network beyond the boundary of a village. ठीक है? So what are the features that you can say that it is a social system? How you can say that it is a social system? So it has, you can say, caste is one dimension, right, and various castes are in relation with one another. You can say they are rooted in with one another in some form of jajmani relations. उनके आपस में जाजमानी relations हैं, ठीक है? Okay. Then you can say village is a kind of all villages, they are kind of kins, ठीक है? So there is joint family and many villages, they are, you can say, one or other kind of extended families they live, and they are linked together again with some kind of jajmani relations. अलग अलग कास्ट की joint families वहाँ पे हैं, right, and they have their own unique kinship network in which they are bound. ठीक है? एक फैमिली दूसरी फैमिली को हेल्प करती है किसी भी जरूरत में आता है तो, ठीक है? ठीक है? They have their own, you can say, विलेज के अंदर जो प्रोडक्शन होता है, that is they have their own, you can say, economic setup, economic organization. That can be characterized by, देसाई कहते हैं कि that can be characterized by, you can say, landlord, farmers, peasants and laborers. ठीक है? That is also there. सिस्टम की बात करें ना, बिकॉज सिस्टम इज ए होल, right? That includes social organization, that includes economic organization, that includes political organization. So, they have their own political organization, clan panchayats, isn't it? They have, you can say khaps or clan panchayats can be there, traditional panchayats. Okay. Then almost every village have their own folk deity also, village deity, folk deity भी उसी के around worships वगैरह होती हैं, right? Okay, so these things basically describe that village is a kind of social system. ठीक है, village is just a kind of social system. Then let us exaggerate this statement. Is this an isolated social system, or you can categorize it as a little republic? It is a social system, but it is not little republic what Charles Metcalfe have described, right? Because one village have embedded deep kinship links with many villages, right? Villages have links with the market forces also, right? Economic links with the market, okay, from where they buy the seeds and they sell their seeds. They have links, kinship links, marriage links with neighboring villages. ठीक है, you can say even political organization, 84 village khap and all these things are there. So there are khaps beyond the village boundary also. ठीक है, so आप इन सब चीज़ों पे you can refute that. Is it clear? So it is not an isolated social system. Yes, it can be termed as a system, but it is an interlinked, inter-embedded social system, not an isolated social system. Yes, please. What is the question? ठीक है, ये चीज़ हो जाएगा, ये वाला क्वेश्चन. आई एम नॉट टेकिंग द सिंपल थिंग्स बिकॉज आई नो दैट यू गाइज कैन डू. Okay, when we talk about tribe caste continuum, हाँ तो आ सकता है.
सोशल कंट्रोल के पर्सपेक्टिव में लिखना था कैसे?
I would show me the question again. ठीक है, then I will talk. I will talk about that later. ठीक है, tribe caste continuum. Tribe caste continuum. So in this tribe caste continuum, you know that what is it? This concept was given by Bailey, है ना, F.G. Bailey, who was studying the Bisipara village. Okay, what he says that tribe and caste, they are not two isolated or you can say fragmented entities, right? There is no watertight compartmentalization between the two. Rather, both are in a continuum. Shares of, you can say, tribe may share some traits of caste and caste may share some traits of tribe, because both are you can say interacting with each other, right? How they are interacting? So basically, what are the processes involved in tribe caste continuum? How they are interacting? So tribes are adopting the traits of caste. You can say Hinduization is one process. If they ask you what are the various processes or agents, forces that act that supports tribe caste continuum. So it can be Hinduization, it can be Sanskritization, it can be parochialization and urbanization. अर्बनाइजेशन नहीं, यूनिवर्सलाइजेशन. अर्बनाइजेशन गलत बोल दिया. ठीक है, हिंदुआइजेशन, संस्कृताइजेशन, यूनिवर्सलाइजेशन एंड हाँ parochialization, we can say tribalization also. You can think about some case studies, okay, like you can give the study of Rajputization of Gonds by Surjit Sinha, okay. You can talk about Bhumij, you can talk about the study of N.K. Bose, Hindu modes of tribal absorption. ठीक है, now what explains the continuity in Indian tradition? Right? What are the reasons for continuity? What are the reasons for continuity in Indian tradition? You know that Indian tradition has not changed much. If you compare Indian civilization with the civilizations, contemporary civilization that emerged, originated in the same time as Indus Valley civilization, okay, why there is continuity in Indian tradition? What is the concept that tries to explain the continuity in Indian tradition? The concept of sacred complex. Okay, that explains the continuity in Indian tradition. I believe that question you can deal with very easily. Okay. Okay. Now, impact of religions you can do easily on Indian society. Now, if there is a question on the Indian anthropologists, how will you handle with that question? What will be the main themes that you are going to elaborate? One important theme what is the impact of American anthropology on Indian? American anthropology on Indian anthropology. Impact of American anthropology on Indian anthropology. क्या क्या concepts American anthropology ने? So, whom you can recall when you talk about American anthropologists? So, there is Maurice Opler, Oscar Lewis, Robert Redfield's followers, Mackim Marriott, Milton Singer. What they did? Village studies. Okay. What else they did? They focused on study of caste, isn't it? Before that, caste study इतना ज़्यादा नहीं था, right? The concept of tribe caste continuum, although you can say that is also the gift of है ना. The concept of sacred complex that was developed by LP Vidyarthi when he was influenced from the approach of Robert Redfield. The concept of NMS complex given by Dr. LP Vidyarthi, influenced from Julian Stewart, culture ecology approach, है ना. LP विद्यार्थी ने दिया था और कहाँ से इन्फ्लुएंस था, जूलियन स्टीवर्ट से, राइट. देन इवन लाइक सिंगर स्टडीड मद्रास, राइट. सो अर्बन स्टडीज, urban studies started with this, है ना. ओके, तो ये सारी चीज़ें आप डाल देंगे इसमें, इस क्वेश्चन में. ओके, ब्रिटिश का इन्फ्लुएंस, ब्रिटिश का इन्फ्लुएंस. बिफोर इंडिपेंडेंस इंडियन एंथ्रोपोलॉजी वाज प्राइमरली इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय ब्रिटिश, ठीक है. सो उसमें जितने भी कॉन्सेप्ट्स आए थे, दैट वाज द, यू कैन से, इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ ब्रिटिशर्स. वट एवर मोनोग्राफ्स हैव बीन रिटन बाय से S.C. Roy, right, and others, that is influence from them. Typical influence, Majumdar की study on Ho and others. Majumdar was influenced by Malinowski. तो मजुमदार की स्टडी में मालिनोस्की का इम्पैक्ट दिखता है. श्रीनिवास was influenced from the structural functional approach of Pritchard. Pritchard was a British. And Brown, isn't it? Pritchard and Brown. ठीक है, ये आप समझ गए. Now, if you talk about even these Gure, then Carvey, they were also somehow influenced from the British approach. ठीक है. Then study of, you can say, the writings of early anthropologists in India, that was also influenced from the British way of writing, because they were also describing Indian cultures as other cultures. ठीक है, डन. हाँ हाँ, एंथ्रोपोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया, वो भी ब्रिटिश ने इंडिपेंडेंस से पहले 45 में एस्टेब्लिश कर दिया था. दैट ऑल्सो यू कैन राइट, राइट. Then even these like W.H.R. Rivers, Herbert Risley, right, all these people also have influenced. Herbert Risley ने तो जो caste and tribes in Bengal को study किया था. Now if there is any anthropologist, so note on any anthropologist contribution. Note on contribution of any anthropologist. So first and foremost, give the introduction. Say any anthropologist is being asked, whether it is say Mahapatra, they are asking Hemendorf, they are asking D.N. Majumdar, they are asking N.K. Bose, they are asking whosoever they are asking. Give a brief introduction, okay, about the background. Okay. Then you can talk about their biography a little bit, 2-3 लाइन में कहाँ से पढ़े हैं, that you can talk. You can talk about the contribution in contribution you can talk about field work if done, right. You can talk about major works, you can talk about after that contribution to different branches of anthropology. Say not everybody have done the 4 field anthropology, some are just you can say stuck with the social part, some are just with the physical part. So but if there is, then try to think from the physical. अगर हम मजूमदार की बात करें, सो उन्होंने रेशियल सर्वेज भी किए थे, सेरोलॉजिकल डेटा कलेक्ट किया, तो फिजिकल में भी उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन है. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट सोशल, देन ही कंट्रीब्यूटेड टू द सोशल आल्सो. विद इन सोशल यू कैन से ही टॉक्ड अबाउट द कास्ट स्टडीज, राइट. उन्होंने जाजमानी सिस्टम को भी स्टडी किया था मजूमदार ने, एंड ही ऑल्सो स्टडीड हो और आउंस, राइट. ही स्टडीड खासा. सो सोशल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी में भी ओके. देन यू कैन से इन सोशल के बाद में अगर आप किसी ने एक्शन एंथ्रोपोलॉजी किया या अप्लाइड एंथ्रोपोलॉजी किया, से फॉर एग्जांपल एलपी विद्यार्थी, सो ही वाज एन एक्शन एंथ्रोपोलॉजिस्ट आल्सो, यू कैन टॉक अबाउट हिम. इफ देयर इज एससी रॉय, सो एससी रॉय आल्सो वर्कड फॉर द अपलिफ्टमेंट एंड वेलफेयर ऑफ द ट्राइबल पीपल, दैट आल्सो इज एक्शन एंथ्रोपोलॉजी. ठीक है, ही एक्टेड एज ए कैटलिस्ट, सो दैट पार्ट आल्सो यू कैन टॉक हियर. ठीक है, सो फील्ड वर्क, मेजर वर्क्स, फिजिकल, सोशल. इफ समवन इज इन आर्कियोलॉजी, सो आर्कियोलॉजी वाले में रख देंगे, right. If there is someone who have studied language, so linguistics, right. And finally you can talk about the applied part, applied anthropology, जिसका जिसमें contribution है उसी हिसाब से, right. In applied anthropology, if I talk about say Warrior Elwin, so he gave you can say isolationist as well as integrationist approach. If I talk about Hemmendorf, isolationist approach, वो उसका contribution था. ओके, सो उन्होंने क्या कोई सजेस्ट किया, किसी ने अगर recommend किया कि we need to make tribal research institutions, that is their contribution, right. If somebody recommended for tribal plans, study B.K. Roy Burman this time. ठीक है, B.K. Roy Burman study कर लेना एक बार. ठीक है. Now one question arises that whether we should criticize any scholar or not. So you can criticize the concepts, not the person. ठीक है, you can criticize the concept or you can say anything given by them. इंसान को थोड़ा ना criticize करना है, उससे concept को criticize करना है ना, as a person थोड़ी ना आप उसको वो कर रहे हो. So you can say criticism of a particular concept that you can write. ठीक है. Then after that we can talk about the change aspect. B.K. Roy Burman प्रिपेयर कर लेना, विद्यार्थी प्रिपेयर कर लेना. ओके, यू कैन प्रिपेयर श्रीनिवास अगेन. श्रीनिवास थोड़ा सा रेलेवेंट हो जाता है. बोस लास्ट ईयर आ चुका है. Santhal, a tribe in search of great tradition. I think there is a scholar, I forgot the name, a foreign scholar. Santhal के ऊपर उन्होंने एक book है. I taught it in that class, but it is not. क्या नाम था, कुछ याद आ रहा है? Santhal, a tribe in search of great tradition or something. हाँ, Martin Orans. Okay, so because our president is from the Santhal tribe, so we have to understand that whether they what are the changes. Even Santhal, Munda, Ho, right, talk about all those aspects of Santhal. Okay, Santhal, Munda, Ho, all these are, you can say, tribes in transition. Santhal Hinduize ज़्यादा हो रहा है, और उनमें में Hinduization भी हो रहा है and Christianization भी ज़्यादा हो रहा है, right? So we have to understand those processes also in that aspect. ठीक है? Like if you talk about Gonds, so S.C. Roy says that Gonds have similar Gotra system as is found in Hindu system. So वो वाली बात भी आप एक बार उसमें देख सकते हो. लीला दुबे का काम भी इम्पोर्टेंट हो जाता है बिकॉज ऑफ मैनी इवेंट्स दैट वी सी, है ना, लाइक बुरका एंड ऑल दिस कंट्रोवर्सी. सो लीला दुबे का काम भी इम्पोर्टेंट हो जाता है, मैट्रिलिनियन इस्लाम वाला. ओके, नाउ चेंज. व्हाट आर द फैक्टर्स ऑफ चेंज in Indian society? If you want to take few names for village studies याद रखने के लिए, so I can just dictate few names. Srinivas, Rampura village, concept of dominant caste. Dubey, Shamirpet village. Bete, Shripuram. Beli, Bisipara. Majumdar, Mohana village. Okay, कुछ पहले हमने बात किया था, ठीक है. मैरियट, किशनगढ़ी. ठीक है. Now change aspect in Indian society. There can be two type of factors, endogenous or orthogenetic, and exogenous. Yogendra Singh also talks about orthogenetic and heterogenetic changes in Indian tradition, right? So in orthogenetic, that means within the system, right, within Indian society. So within the system we can say Sanskritization. ये हम योगेंद्र सिंह की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम जनरल बात कर रहे हैं, but I am just giving you an idea that he also talks about the change aspect, right? When he wrote a very famous book, Modernization of Indian Tradition. काफ़ी famous book है. Okay, Sanskritization is one concept. What are the other? You can say this parochialization, universalization, है ना, tribe caste continuum. Modernization is also endogenous. Isn't it? Tribe caste continuum, modernization, Sanskritization, and exogenous, that originate from outside the society. So you can say westernization, your globalization, है ना, westernization, globalization, these are originating outside the society. ठीक है. So both kind of changes can be there. Some scholars would like to put modernization both endogenous and exogenous, तो आप भी कर सकते हो चाहो तो, but Dubé says that modernization is endogenous, ठीक है, not exogenous. Okay. Indian society part is relatively easy, and if you talk about the case studies, so case studies में आपके पास जो case studies इतने scholars हैं with their traditional case studies, that is sufficient. Whatever you know in GS, right, whatever new case studies, some case studies I have shared on the group with the students जो course में थे सभी के साथ हमने share किया है. Still, if you need to refer, so 100 case studies हैं, right, that will be sufficient with modern, you can say contemporary statistics. बहुत है वो, right, some statistics you just write that and that will be sufficient for you to handle these type of questions. When you talk about change, so that is necessary to show the change aspect, ठीक है. और statistics जो भी हो आपके पास अगर किसी aspect में that change because of this, so try to show that in the introduction itself so that it becomes visible, the contrast become very visible in the very beginning. Definition नीचे आ सकती है, but let us hit the chord that what examiner is want us from us, what the examiner wants from us, ठीक है. Just put it directly there, ठीक है. जब भी कोई क्वेश्चन ऐसा आता है जिसमें कि आपको कॉन्ट्रास्ट दिखाना है एंड यू हैव फोल्डर, यू हैव डेटा, गिव इट इन द बिगिनिंग, राइट. इफ दे आस्क अबाउट द सेफगार्ड्स, स्टार्ट विद द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल आर्टिकल, राइट. इफ दे आस्क अबाउट एनीथिंग, सो स्टैटिस्टिक्स को सबसे पहले दिखाओ. अगर बीच में कहीं दिखाते हो तो पुट इट इन द बॉक्स समवेयर, राइट. whatever case study you give, just highlight it, put it in the box, ठीक है. If I have to tell you that how you should devote your time, don't devote much time in collecting some contemporary data from the newspaper. It can be useful, but if I have to tell you that if you are getting 6.5 marks in a question, then it may give you just 0.5 marks, the contemporary data, but the amount of time that you are putting in for that is not justified, right. So whatever I have provided, that will be sufficient for you to handle those kind of questions, right. But still, whatever you are reading, you can use that in the conclusion, right. Your answer should have simplicity, proper headings बनाओ, जहाँ जहाँ पे ग्राफिक डाल सकते हो डालो, but ओवर भी नहीं करना किसी भी चीज़ को कि सिर्फ ग्राफिक डाल दिया, right, because it is a subjective paper. So do present your answers in a proper format. Whatever I have told you, I have given some headings, right. So in these headings, either you write in the points or you write in the paragraphs. That is your you can say your own will. You can write small paragraphs, 2-3 लाइन का पैराग्राफ, वो एक तरह से एक पॉइंट ही बन जाता है, ठीक है. And avoid doing this kind of, because it doesn't look professional, ठीक है. ऐसा नहीं कि गलत है, but professional नहीं लगता है. If you want to give a point like this, so better make this kind of, that will look much better, right. ये बहुत सारे अगर लगे होते हैं पेपर में तो it doesn't give a very good look, right. So make sure that presentable भी रहे आपका पेपर जो है, वो देखने में अच्छा भी लगे, थोड़ा सा एस्थेटिक सेंस भी होता है हल्का सा. इट इज़ नॉट दैट इम्पोर्टेंट एज योर कंटेंट इज अनडाउटेबली, बट स्टिल इफ यू कैन मेक सच अमेंड्स टू योर आंसर, व्हाई नॉट, राइट. एंड वी ऑल नो दैट एस्थेटिकली अगर कोई चीज़ अच्छी लग रही है तो पढ़ने का मन करता है, ओके. सो यू कैन डू दिस थिंग. टुमारो आई विल टॉक अबाउट tribals. In that we will talk about forest policies, we will talk about forest policy के बाद tribal administration की बात करेंगे, approaches to tribal, ठीक है, and ethnicity. 3-4 टॉपिक्स की हम बात करेंगे, ज़्यादा नहीं करेंगे, because instead of doing so many things we will concentrate on 2-3 टॉपिक्स, ठीक है, जो कि forest laws wala, then tribal administration wala, approaches wala, and ethnicity wala. These 3-4 topics we will do tomorrow, and this will be, I think that is sufficient for you to understand the idea. We have talked about basis. So, in that what should be the structure? We have discussed some brush up, because if I have discussed varnashrama, then purusharth automatically ho jata hai, rina automatically ho jata hai, karma theory we all know, right. Then if we talk about caste, so there is no meaning in talking about the theories of origin of caste, what is caste, what are the characteristics given by G.S. Ghure, right. So, that is not useful for us. What is the view of Louis Dumont on caste system? That becomes a little bit important, right. So, what Louis Dumont says about the caste system? So, Louis Dumont was a student of Levi-Strauss, right. So, as Levi-Strauss applied the binary opposition concept, he also used the binary opposition between purity and pollution on caste system. That was one approach that he used, but Louis Dumont का काम इतना easy नहीं है. He used cultural approach. So, there are some approaches to understand caste system. One of them was structural approach as used by Louis Dumont, right. There is cultural approach, that means the culture के जो perspective है उससे समझे. There is Indological approach, scriptures में क्या लिखा है उसके perspective से समझना, ठीक है. So, structural, Indological, cultural, these are 3 predominant approach, and Louis Dumont have applied all the 3 approaches, ठीक है, in study of the caste. When he talk about that human is homo hierarchicus, so उसने तीनों apply किया था. अगर मैं इंडोलॉजिकल व्यू के यूज करने वाला कोई आइसोलेटेड बंदे की बात करूं, देन वी कैन से G.S. Ghure यूज्ड इंडोलॉजिकल अप्रोच, ठीक है. G.S. Ghure यूज द इंडोलॉजिकल अप्रोच, जो स्क्रिप्चरल अप्रोच थी उससे बात की उन्होंने, ठीक है. इंडोलॉजी मतलब स्टडी ऑफ इंडियन टेक्स्ट, स्क्रिप्चर्स में क्या लिखा हुआ है, ठीक है. बट G.S. Ghure also used the cultural approach. कल्चर के एस्पेक्ट्स को भी तो उन्होंने डिलिनेट किया, जब 6 कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स दिया तो कल्चरल अप्रोच भी यूज किया. सो द वन बिग क्वेश्चन अराइजेस दैट देयर आर अप्रोचेस टू अंडरस्टैंड कास्ट, बट ऐसा कोई जरूरी नहीं है कि एक एंथ्रोपोलॉजिस्ट को एक साइड से ब्रांड कर दें हम. इज इट क्लियर? इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी दैट यू जस्ट ब्रांड वन स्कॉलर विद वन काइंड ऑफ आइडिया. देयर कैन बी अप्रोचेस, देयर कैन बी रिलीजियस अप्रोच to understand caste system, there can be field approach, right. It is not necessary that fixed that book में 4 approach लिख के दिए तो मैं 4 तक रहूँगा. field approach भी है ना, book view and field view. Aman Srinivas applied. Aman Srinivas also applied structural approach. Is it clear? So basically what I am trying to say that don't limit yourself कि book में 3 approach लिखी हुई हैं, that Indological approach, cultural approach, structural approach. So interactional approach of Singer is also there, that castes interact, okay, isn't it? So don't restrict. field approach आप यूज कर सकते हो, religious approach आप यूज कर सकते हो, ठीक है. Done? So this way just think a little bit broadly on these concepts, and for today we will wind up our session, and tomorrow we will talk about ट्राइबल वाले वो 3-4 टॉपिक्स पे बात करेंगे हम, ठीक है. रेस्ट those 300 plus questions and model answers that I have provided, you can refer to them, okay. That will be sufficient for you to cover, I would say 90% of your syllabus will be covered in that only, right. Name is 300 but it has more than 300, right. So thank you for today, all the very best.